Every 94 minutes, 2 North Korean satellites pass over the United States. The KMS-3-2, launched by North Korea in April of 2012, and the KMS-4, launched in February of 2016. The satellites are orbiting at what is said to be the optimum height for placing an EMP field over all of the 48 contiguous United States. The EMP Commission has been giving official warnings about these satellites for quite some time. Those warnings now become even more relevant as North Korea achieves the ability to miniaturize warheads that could be placed on those satellites. An EMP would target our electrical grid and critical civilian infrastructure by detonating above Earth. It would destroy the electric grid. There would be no food, no water, and no hospitals. Fires would rage out of control. Chemical plants that store sensitive chemicals at precise temperatures would explode. While alarming, all that would be survivable for most. Now let's take a look at the real threat of an EMP, the danger that turns it into a non-survivable event, one that raises the threat level to that of an ELE, an extinction level event. It's the threat that no one dares mention, whispered about only in certain circles and a few of the more serious survival blogs. Nuclear power plants. There are over 100 nuclear power plants in the United States. The country is littered with them. In an EMP event, those would all go into meltdown very quickly as their backup systems fail. The time frame would be anything from 24 hours to 4 weeks. Nuclear power plants are dependent on the main grid. NRC regulatory requirements are that they have backup power systems for a month. Those backups are diesel generators dependent on the availability of fuel, and typically only a 3-day supply is kept on hand. Once distribution points are disrupted, they would become useless. Batteries used as additional backup only last a few hours. So without the main grid, meltdowns would begin very quickly. They would most likely all be happening at the same time all over the country. Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, Executive Director of the Congressional Task Force on National and Homeland Security and Chief of Staff of the Congressional EMP Commission, recently criticized both the U.S. intelligence community and mainstream media for their silence on the threat that the North Korean satellites pose. On a recent Sunday night talk radio show, Aaron Klein Investigative Radio, he stated that failure to at least talk about this possibility is actually helping our enemies put us in a situation where they could achieve their political and military goals. Shortly after the Fukushima event, Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany, made the decision to shut down all nuclear power plants in Germany as they posed too much of a threat. They are now in the last phases of those shutdowns, and the project will be completed by 2022. Our nuclear power plants leave us vulnerable. Aside from an enemy targeting us, there's also the possibility of a naturally occurring EMP, like the Carrington event in the solar storm of 1859. Telegraph systems all over Europe and North America failed, in some cases giving the telegraph operators electric shocks. Studies have shown that a solar storm of this magnitude occurring today would have far more dire consequences. In 1859, society was not as dependent on technology, and there were no nuclear power plants to go into meltdown. In the event of an EMP, it would be advisable to distance yourself from areas where nuclear power plants are located. If possible, evacuating to a country where there are no nuclear reactors is suggested. We live at a time where technology has made life simpler, easier, and more fun. Those technologies, however, also pose a threat. It would be wise and serve our best interests to try and safeguard our quality of life by limiting those threats when possible. To not allow ourselves to be vulnerable to a small country like North Korea posing such a huge threat. Awareness of a problem is a huge part of its solution. As more people become aware of this problem, we can begin to find a solution. This is, after all, a problem with a simple solution. We could take the same course of action Germany took, a complete and permanent shutdown of all power plants within the United States. The danger these facilities pose to us on so many different levels far outweigh their benefits. As always, thanks for watching. Please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe.